Go interactive with X-Ray, where we bring trading experts to you live in the platform. Choose sessions, watch live market analysis, and catch up on your favorite market insights anytime. Ask questions and go one-to-one with leading experts on gold, oil, FX, crypto, indices, and equities. X-Ray, your very own analysis team, right at your fingertips. That's higher trading from MarketsX. Discover how some of the top executives are trading their own companies with our Insider Trades tool. See who's been buying or selling stock and what their trades say about insider sentiment. Use this unique big data tool to make more informed stock trades. That's higher trading from MarketsX.
What's happening, beautiful people? Good morning, America. Good afternoon, Europe. And welcome, everyone, to our live stream. Happy Friday, people. How are you guys doing? Let me know how you're doing in the comments box below, guys. And please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and support us in delivering more great content. It does help us a lot. Now, this week, we had a lot of events in the markets, guys. We had a lot of economic data coming out showing us the state of the world economies. Some economies started recovering faster than predicted. Others still need a bit more time. But one of the most pressing topics this week was the vaccination of the people. So stay tuned for the Friday debrief coming up. Right, welcome back, everyone. Now you're gonna see a graph. Let me make it a bit bigger so everyone can see. Very, very important, very interesting what's happening in the world. And let's take the markets pulse together today. Let's start with the vaccination, see what's happening. Looking at the graph provided by Financial Times, we see that Israel is leading by far with 109 doses per 100 people. The UK, guys, the United Kingdom, did a great job as well, taking the second place in the world with 46.7 doses per 100 people. The US started picking up as well with 39.4 doses per 100 people, and the US President Joe Biden announced that the US is looking to get 200 million doses in his first 100 days as US President. And the last place, guys, seems reserved for the European Union with a depressing 14 vaccines per every 100 people. How is that possible? On Wednesday, 29 million doses of AstraZeneca vaccine were found in a plant in Italy, according to a French official. No one knows what was happening with those doses, who found them, in what kind of plant were they found, and more importantly, no one knows if they were meant to be exported or used to vaccinate the European population that needs it so bad. Come on, Europe, you can do better than this. So while other countries are vaccinating over 100 people daily, Europe is still struggling with 14 doses, while we find 29 million doses of vaccine stored in some warehouse in Italy. Very interesting what's happening, guys. Very, very interesting, very depressing what's happening, and hopefully Europe will manage to fulfill its duty to its population. We saw cases rising in Asia. We saw cases rising in India, guys, and we saw cases rising in Europe, with France and Germany announcing a potential lockdown once again. And we're going to see a German official statement in a few minutes from now saying that the third wave, guys, is by far the worst wave of this COVID pandemic. Now, let's have a quick look at the charts, guys, and see what happened with the major assets this week. Let's see how they performed throughout the week and what's expected to happen shortly after the markets open on Monday morning. We're going to start with Crude Oil Wti Futures, where the blue arrow is, guys. That's where the week opened on Monday, guys. Yeah, on Sunday night when Australian markets open. That's where the price of oil was. So what do we see? We see oil dropping for a couple of days, for a day or so, a day and a half. okay, till the 23rd at 2200 hours. Then we saw oil price pushing back up, but a bit lower than its previous high. Then the price got rejected by that 200 moving average, that red line that you see drawn on the charts. We saw oil giving back a couple of dollars, coming all the way down to 57.66, and then bouncing again, going all the way up to 60.27. But again, it did not manage to break through the previous high. That usually indicates a bit of weakness in the markets, guys, from the technical point of view. Looking at the relative strength index, we see big swings, guys, happening between the overbought and the oversold levels. Currently, oil is trading at 59.88, and if you look carefully, you see a rejection from this trend channel, this downwards trend channel that indicates a possible downtrend for oil. So if we were to go for the for what technical analysis is, then the next movement should be this. Probably traders will set their take profit target somewhere lower, guys, towards the 57.80, 57.90, somewhere there, trying to anticipate a next move made by oil. Let's remember that the Suez Canal, the biggest sea canal in the world, is blocked, guys, for a couple of days now, and Bloomberg reported it might remain blocked since next week. Till next week, sorry. It's blocked since Wednesday. So this affects oil price all over the world. Now, let's move on. Let's see what's happening with the most traded currency pair in the world, which is the euro, guys, which on Monday 22nd opened somewhere there around the 119.50 level, and it kept dropping ever since. Last night, we saw it creating a higher low, that might lead to a bit of a correction, a bit of positivity in the markets today for the euro. However, looking down at the relative strength index, we see that the relative strength index did not manage to go into the overbought levels since Monday, guys. There we go. I don't know if you can see it at the bottom of the chart. 22nd of 3rd, 2021, 1400 hours. Yeah, since then, the RSI did not manage to go up into the overbought territories, indicating a strong downtrend. Let's move on to the cable, guys, to the pound, and see how the pound moved throughout the week. Once again, this is where the pound started the week, guys, nice and early on Monday morning. It started with a drop, followed by a bit of a rise during the European trading session on Monday, and it couldn't stop dropping since. Now, we see a correction that pushed the pound all the way up to 137.68. Once again, with the RSI pointing downwards, turning around from the overbought territories. Also, we see that 200 moving average, the red line at the top, subduing the price, pushing the price downwards. So there is a big chance we're gonna see the pound dropping some more today or on Monday, guys. This is how the pound moved throughout the week. A drop for 3 days, and then for the last 2 days, it pushed a bit higher. But it's encountering some heavy resistance, at 138.07, where the 200 moving average is. Let's have a look at the dollar, guys, and its trajectory since Monday. This is where the markets opened, somewhere there on Monday. We saw the US dollar losing a bit of ground for a couple of days, for a couple of trading sessions. And on the 23rd, guys, look what happened on the 23rd, on the 24th, when Australia opened at 2 a.m. The dollar started pushing higher and is currently trading at 109.80. Very good rally for the US dollar this week. Let's see what's going to happen on Monday. Where will the markets open on Monday? And what's going to happen next week with the US dollar versus the Japanese yen. Moving on, we're looking at the Aussie dollar, guys, which once again it opened on a positive note on Monday 22nd. It pushed up for a few hours during the Asian trading session, but shortly after the European trading session, we see a big drop, guys, which lasted until yesterday, 25th, at 11 o'clock. GMT +2. So since yesterday, we see the Aussie dollar pushing a bit higher, probably being attracted by that 200 moving average, which stands at 0.7672 on the AUD USD currency pair. Now, one other important factor from the technical point of view, guys, is that the Aussie dollar apparently entered a ranging market, which usually signals a correction. So we might see an uptrend starting very soon, Monday, Tuesday, depending on what news comes from Australia and what other news comes from the US. Keep an eye on the Aussie dollar, guys. It's definitely worth it. We see the RSI pointing upwards. We might see a retest all the way up to that 200 moving average. And on Monday, we take it from there. USD CAD is currently trading at 125.71, guys, after starting the week lower at 124.71, somewhere there in that region. It gained 100 basis points from what we see. Big push. We see a trend channel up there, and by the looks of it, okay, we see a breakout to the downside, the possible retest of that 200 moving average for the US dollar versus the Canadian dollar. Yeah, before markets close today. Also, if you look carefully at the bottom of the chart, guys, again, we're going to see that the RSI did not manage to push all the way down to oversold levels. Okay, as the US dollar kept pushing higher. Very curious to see what's happening with this breakout to the downside today, guys. We are exactly 30 minutes ahead of the US markets open. And from next week, it's going to be delayed by 1 hour. It's going to go back to 4:30 GMT plus 2 as Europe is changing the clocks as well. Now, this is what's happening with the USD CAD. So keep an eye on that 200 moving average. Wait for a rejection, for a test, for a retest of that 200 MA to the downside, and let's see what's going to happen from there. Let's have a quick look at the mighty S&P 500, guys, which started the week on a positive. Then it started dropping till yesterday, guys, and yesterday we saw finally a positive trading session on the US trading session, helping the S&P 500 gaining a bit more, trying to get back to its previous values, the same values that it started the week on Monday at $3,955.01. It's currently trading at $3,909.52. There is potential to the upside today, as it was indicated by Bloomberg that the U.S. indices are expected to open higher today, even though the S&P 500 is only expected to open with a modest 0.5% gain. Still, it's a gain. It's going to take us closer to its previous values, and then probably it's going to resume the uptrend. Very, very interesting index to have a look at. Let's see what happened with the Dow Jones throughout the week, guys. Very similar trajectory with the S&P 500s. We see the markets opening here on the 22nd on Monday. We saw the Dow Jones giving back some gains throughout the week, and yesterday finally it closed on a positive. It closed a bit higher than where it was on the 24th. Hey, let's see what's going to happen today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was announced to open with a modest 0.3% higher today, okay, to the upside. Let's see. We're only 30 minutes away from that opening bell. Moving on, let's have a quick look at the US dollar index, guys, which moved higher throughout the week. It's currently trading at 92.805. And it started the week down there, somewhere around 91.75. So the US dollar index gained quite a bit this week. Now let's see. We see what looks like a double top up there. Okay, there we go. Okay, and that usually indicates a bit of a breakout to the downside, a bit of a reversal after such a good rally, such a good 3-4 day rally, even 5 days, I'm tempted to say. Meanwhile, we're looking at gold futures, guys, on a 60-minute chart, which started the week at 1723. Down there, yeah, this is where gold futures opened, 1723, 1724. It pushed higher for one trading session. It started pulling back during the US trading session overnight. It pulled again. It pushed higher on the European trading session. But again, if you look carefully, again, you're gonna see what looks like a double top there, indicating a bit of weakness in the markets, guys. This is how the markets react. Okay, so once you see that double top there and you manage to draw a trend channel, okay, from the previous peak, to this peak, then you might see the indication of a possible downtrend. Also, here at the bottom, if you look carefully, you're going to see again a double bottom, or something that looks like a double bottom, which usually indicates that the downtrend is almost over. Okay, so what you can do in times like this is just keep an eye on the previous high and the previous high and the previous high, and draw a line, draw a trend channel, and see what is happening with the asset. 1724.45 for gold this afternoon. We see the RSI at the bottom of the chart moving more or less sideways. What's a bit worrying is that the RSI did not manage to go into the overbought territories for quite some time now, since Monday, since this downtrend started for gold. Again, as we speak, the RSI is pointing upwards. But if I was to look at a possible long direction on gold futures, I would definitely keep an eye on this level there, 1728, somewhere there, where this trend channel is ending. We might see a retest, and then gold might continue to drop. Let's see what's going to happen on Monday. Very, very interesting. Meanwhile, let's move on. Let's have a quick look at Brent Oil Futures, guys, or the European oil, which on Monday opened at $63.81. It dropped for a couple of days until the 23rd, until Wednesday at 2000 hours, and then it started an uptrend that lasted for 24 hours, then again a pullback, and then again a push. 63.84 right now. We see a 200 moving average at 64.28, which might indicate a continuation of the downtrend. However, this higher high and the higher low that we see here might indicate to something else. The RSI is well trading between overbought and oversold territories, indicating a healthy trend. Okay, and depending on the news on the Suez Channel, when it's that gonna get unblocked, we're gonna be able to kind of try and predict what's gonna happen with oil. But better than that, guys, let's wait for the markets to tell us what's gonna happen with oil on Monday at the European markets open. We're looking at silver futures, which followed the gold path with a positive opening on the 22nd. We saw silver futures opening at 25.59. They pushed up during the European trading session, and once the US markets opened, guys, we saw the downtrend started, and it lasted until yesterday morning. Since yesterday till now, we see silver trading a bit higher, guys. Again, heading towards that 200 moving average, which most times acts as a magnet for the price. So the further the price will go from that line, it's only a matter of time until it's going to come back and retest the line. So that's why many traders are using these moving averages, guys. That's a good indication on when to enter the markets. Yeah, many times you're going to get a very, very good indication from those moving averages. Now, again, what contributed to the downtrend, guys, is once again seeing the RSI not being able to go all the way up into the overbought territories for 4 or 5 days now. Okay, today's the 5th day. We see the RSI pointing downwards. It's somewhere in between right now, so we have to wait for the US markets open to give the markets a bit of a boost. Okay, and let's see what's going to happen from there. Let's move on and have a look at Tesla, guys, which opened on Monday, somewhere there around the $677 mark, pushed a bit higher on Monday, and then it started tumbling for 3 days in a row. Okay, yesterday it gained a bit, currently trading at $640, but it's still well below the start of the week, which was $677, somewhere there. RSI, again, not indicating a strong trend whatsoever. We see the 200 moving average, again, pointing downwards, pushing the price downwards. Very interesting what's going to happen with Tesla at the US markets open today in exactly 20 minutes from now. Now, let's move on. Let's have a look at the mighty Bitcoin, guys, which started the week at $58,051. And it started tumbling since we saw a bit of a correction happening on the 24th, pushing it all the way back to 56,777. Then it took another hit. Okay, very, very shy correction, another hit. And now we see again a very, very shy correction, which if we were to use the Fibonacci retracement tool, probably that will measure somewhere around the 38 retracement, the 38% retracement, which again indicates a bit of a downtrend. Okay, a very weak a very weak trend. $53,060 for Bitcoin this afternoon. We see the RSI not being able to go all the way up into the overbought territories. We see that 200 moving average still pointing downwards, okay, and pushing the price downwards. Now, if technical analysis were to work on cryptocurrencies better than it does on the forex or commodities, then this would be expected from Bitcoin. Okay, but we might see a retest to the upside of that 200 MA at $55,059. This is how the Bitcoin moved throughout the week, guys. More or less in a downtrend. Yeah, we saw some interesting whipsaw movements, which I'm sure left many traders exposed and made a bit of money for other traders. Let's have a quick look at Ethereum, which is more or less copying Bitcoin's movement. It opened the week up here, guys, at 1,799, 1,800. That was the ceiling on Monday. And since then, we saw it tumbling and tumbling. We see a bit of a correction right now, 1635.38 for Ethereum this afternoon. But once again, what's worrying is this downtrend channel and that 200 moving average, which again is pointing downwards. Right, this is it. This is how the markets moved throughout the week, guys. It's very, very interesting to know, very important to know if you're a beginner trader. And don't go anywhere. We're coming back live in a minute or so with the US markets open. Stay tuned.
Keep your finger on the market pulse with the News Alerts tool. Stay up to date on the latest sentiment across all the major asset classes. Uncover bullish or bearish signals tied to specific assets that could be developing before major price moves, and track how news sentiment correlated with price in the past. Track the news volume on an asset, its fear index, and get a better feel for its underlying strength. All with News Alerts, your central hub for market information. That's higher trading from MarketsX.
Right, okay, and we're back, people. Happy Friday once again, and welcome to the US Markets Open. Let's see what's happening in the markets today, Friday, 26th of March, 2021. Although the vaccination process stepped up in the last week, the COVID cases seem to be rising again in Europe, India, and South America. The German health minister, Jens Spahn, warned this morning of clear signs that the latest COVID wave will be the worst than the first two. The U.S. President Joe Biden accelerated his timetable for vaccinating the U.S. population in his first press conference on Thursday, saying he'll now target 200 million jabs in his first 100 days as the U.S. president. The initial target of 100 million was reached with 100 million to spare. Well done, Joe Biden. The U.S. stock market seems set for another gaining stake today, with the Nasdaq 100 futures trading 0.5% higher, the Dow Jones Industrial Average up 0.2%, and the mighty S&P 500 also gaining a modest 0.3% pre-market open. Crude Oil Futures traded higher in the last two trading sessions since the news that the Suez Canal is blocked by a big tanker. Bloomberg reported earlier on that the number of ships awaiting entry to the canal was now over 300, from 185 yesterday. That is likely to lead to considerable disruptions to supply chains of everything from oil and liquefied natural gas to plastics and pulp. Crude oil futures were up over 1.5% overnight, but still on course to end the week slightly lower. And Bitcoin, guys, the mighty Bitcoin pulled back in the last 2 days with modest gains today, sending the famous cryptocurrency at $53,000, and Ethereum following shortly, trading below the 1,700 mark for the first time this week. U.S. markets open. Coming up. Right, welcome to the US Markets Open, guys. We are exactly 15 minutes ahead of the Markets Open today in this beautiful Friday, 26th of March, 2021. Let's see what are the top 5 things to know in the markets today, guys. I'm going to give you some stocks, some signals, and then I'll let you go for the weekend. Let's see what's happening. So, number 1 on the board today, COVID divergence widens as Biden doubles vaccination target. The world's progress in containing the COVID-19 pandemic is faltering, with regional performance diverging even ever more sharply. The U.S. appears the likeliest to join China in bringing the disease under control, even through new infection rates appear to have bottomed out in recent days. President Joe Biden accelerated his timetable for vaccinating the U.S. population in his first press conference yesterday, saying he's now targeting 200 million jabs in his first 100 days as the U.S. president. The European Union, however, infection rates continue to climb in all of the big economies north of the Alps. The German health minister warned this morning that this COVID wave is the worst than the first two. Then contrasted with a stronger than expected rise in German business confidence in March, the IFO index hit its highest in 2.5 years. Case numbers also continue to rise sharply in India and South America. Right, we're going to have spending data due in the economic calendar today, guys, with the U.S. Personal income and personal spending data for February due at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. Okay, it came out already, and it expected to have fallen 7.3% of a 10% rise in January, while the personal spending is expected to have fallen 0.7% after a 2.4% rise last month. Let's have a quick look at the economic calendar and see what happened. There we go, guys. We have some announcements. Hey, we had a few announcements in the Eurozone. We had the business, the IFO, the business climate on the Euro. We had the European Leaders Summit, the Euro Summit, with some statements. And then we had a press conference from Bank of England and once again from Germany. Goods trade balance for the US dollar came out at a negative 86.72 billion. Retail inventories, the ex-auto sector, came out better than expected at 1.2%. Core PC index came out 0.1%, just as consensus was predicting. We had the PC price index year over year for February coming out 1.4%, 1 basis point lower than what economists were predicting. Okay, and then we had the personal spending coming out negative 1% versus an expectation of a negative 0.7%. Now, moving on, stocks are set to open higher. WeWork set to go public via SPAC. The U.S. stock markets are set to open modestly higher today, but not by enough to leave them in the green for the week. Nasdaq 100, 0.5% higher. Dow Jones Futures, 77 points or 0.2% higher. And the S&P 500 was up 0.3% pre-markets open. Later, we're going to have Berkshire Hathaway in focus after Warren Buffett company pitched an $8.3 billion plan to build emergency backup power generation in Texas to state regulators. Also of note, office rental startup WeWork has agreed to be taken public via special purpose acquisition company, the Bowex Acquisition Corporation, at a value of around $9 billion, including debt, according to the Wall Street Journal. That's less than 20% of the valuation it had in a private founding round in 2019 before its abortive attempt to a traditional IPO. Number 4 on the board, and very interesting, guys, the Federal Reserve to end the bank payout restrictions. The Federal Reserve signaled that any risk to the stability of the banking system from the pandemic has peaked. It said yesterday it will lift the restrictions on most banks' dividends and stock buybacks that it imposed at the start of the pandemic a year ago. And number 5 on the board, oil rebounds. Suez blockage set to last until next week, guys, was the news. One of the world's most important waterways is set to remain blocked at least until the middle of next week, according to various reports. A high tide expected on Saturday will likely not be enough to free the Ever Given container ship, which is jammed against the sidewall of the Suez Canal that the reports suggested. Bloomberg reported that the ships awaiting entry to the canal has now risen to 300 from 185 a day before. That is likely to lead to considerable disruptions to supply chains of everything from oil to natural gas to plastics and pulp. And crude oil futures were up over 1.5% overnight, but still on course to end the week slightly lower. The ongoing problems in the Suez Canal may add more interest than usual on the U.S. And retail wholesale inventory data, which will come out later. This is what's happening in the markets today, guys. Quick look at some stocks, very interesting stocks to have a look at, and then we can ring the bell together for the U.S. markets open. GameStop, guys, if you remember the GameStop scandal, let me bring it on the charts. Give me just half a second to have a look at GME, which is GameStop. There we go. All right, GameStop Corporation. There we go. It's on the screen. So, $183.75 for GameStop pre-market open today. GameStop rose 6.6%, continuing to push higher after gaining over 50% yesterday. The video games retailer has become very popular among retail traders on Reddit message boards, but weakened substantially on Wednesday after quarterly results when it stated that it was considering selling more stock. There we go. This is the GameStop share price, guys. We see the RSI trying to turn around after the closing yesterday. We see the price, however, settling above the 200 moving average, which might mean a positive opening today. Why not? Bowix acquisition stock rose 5.2% after the special purpose acquisition vehicle agreed to merge with WeWork in a new deal to take the office sharing company public. This values WeWork at $9 billion, substantially below its one-time valuation of $47 billion in 2019. Right, NEO ADR fell 7.9% after the Chinese electric vehicle maker said it would hold production for 5 working days at its Hefei plant due to a shortage in semiconductor chips. It also cut its first quarter delivery forecast to around 19,500 vehicles compared with the 20,000 to 20,500 it had previously expected. Right, apparently we have an issue with around the world with the semiconductor chips, guys. I remember that 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken, Tesla halted production for a day or two, encountering the same problem. And more, Ford, I think, announced that they are having issues as well. More car manufacturers announced that they're going to be having issues with the semiconductor chips. Meanwhile, Morgan Stanley rose 1.4%, Citigroup rose 1.8%, JP Morgan Chase 1.5%, Goldman Sachs climbed 1.5% as well after the Federal Reserve announced that they can resume buybacks and raise dividends in the second half of the year. So keep an eye on the big players of the markets today, guys, such as Morgan Stanley, Citigroup, JP Morgan, and Goldman Sachs. These big investment banks very likely will go in a strong buy shortly after the U.S. markets open. And don't forget to check the trading signals, guys. You can either check the trading signals on investing.com, or you could check the trading signals of our partners and sponsors at markets.com, which have an amazing web platform that sends you the trading signals straight on the platform, including the source. Very interesting to have a look at. Now, let's move on. Let's see what else is happening on the stock side of things. We spoke about Berkshire Hathaway, which rose 0.5%. We see Ford rising 0.2% after the automaker said it will idle production of its highly profitable F-150 pickup truck at a plant in Michigan through Sunday due to the global semiconductor chip shortage. Yes, that was correct. So we are seeing more and more issues with this semiconductor among car manufacturers. We see Microsoft dropping 0.5% after the Wall Street Journal reported that the software giant is now in advanced talks to buy messaging platform Discord for $10 billion. Wow. Okay. We see Madison Square Garden Entertainment rising 3.3% after the owner of Madison Square Garden and other venues announced it was buying MSG Networks. Okay. Which was down in 5.1% in a stock swap deal. And Fox Corporation was flat after Dominion Voting filed a $1.6 billion defamation lawsuit against Fox News over its 2020 election claims. This is what is happening. This is what's expected to happen from the stock markets today, guys. We are quite a few minutes away from the U.S. markets open. Very interesting to see what's going to happen with the S&P 500 today, if it's going to close the week again back where it started on Monday, or if it's going to close the week lower. Dow Jones the same. It started the week around 32,745, is now trading at 32,620. We see a modest opening expected. However, it is positive. So we might see the Dow Jones closing the trading week just where it left it at 32,790 or somewhere in that area. One quick look at Bitcoin, guys, which usually starts rallying ahead of the US markets open. We see it now pointing downwards, finding a bit of resistance from that trend channel up there. $52,854 for Bitcoin. Ethereum is following as well, not even making it all the way up to the trend channel and turning around and currently trading at $1,629.56. This was it from my side today, guys. We had a long week. We had an amazing week, but the weekend ahead of us is even more beautiful. So join me again on Monday for the US markets open. Until then, remember to trade responsibly and may all your trades be in the money.